Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to cover these headlight covers in a separate video because I want to show you how to paint stuff on a budget. To do this, we're going to use a couple of different products. We're going to use a white primer, we're going to use a high build primer, we're going to use a paint, and we're going to use a lacquer. We're going to use those 4 products to try to achieve the best finish we can on a budget. But for now, I want to do what's accessible to most people, and that's going to be aerosol cans. This whole procedure is like 90% prep, 10% paint. To start off with, we already covered these. We already sanded these headlights down to bare metal, headlight covers down to bare metal. We're now going to basically use a Scotch pad to scotch them and get them absolutely smooth and uniform. So make sure we get all our corners. Because I just want to make sure that we get this panel completely covered. We're going to flip them over, go over the inside. Now, depending on your attention to detail, you don't necessarily have to do the inside of the cover perfectly because no one's going to see it. But I just like to make sure that I get the full panel done. That's one headlight cover. Okay, so our headlight cover's scotched. And take a bit of paper, wipe our surface because we don't want any dust when we do this. What you can do is, if you're working in quite a dusty environment, you can wet the floor and that will kind of hold the dust down a bit better. We're not going to do that for this example. Right. I'll show you headlight covers. We're now going to give them a clean. You can use various things. You can use panel wipe. I have seen people use white spirit. I don't actually recommend it. Some people use brake cleaner, but I would recommend buying something called panel wipe online. It's like a liquid, you buy that, and then you just give your surfaces a good wipe. And any kind of residue left from your sanding, and there will be some, you won't see it, but there will be some. I mean, that's your example there on that cloth. So we're going to throw that away. Now, depending what you're painting, high build primer, it's basically like a filler in a can. This is actually called filler primer. It's just a thicker coat of primer. Instead of it just being very thin, slightly thicker. You can use different primers for different materials. This is good for metal, but I like this stuff because it evens out the panel. What you can do is you can spray a couple of coats of this, and then go back with a bit of sandpaper just to smooth out the cover completely if you had some small imperfections. So we're going to shake that can. You want to shake your can for around 3 minutes. Now I'm only going to use the filler primer on the top level you see, and then we'll use the white primer underneath because you're not going to see the other primer, but I will use this on the top layer, the panels you're going to see. So your first coat is going to be a dust. You don't want to go too heavy. You just want to give the panel a slight dust. Make sure you get all your corners. And this is just to help the paint adhere to the metal. If you go too heavy, chances are it will react. So just take your time. Again, following the same direction when you're spraying. Come around the front. Now we're going to leave that. We're probably going to leave that for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on how long it takes to dry. Usually about 15 minutes with kind of filler primer it takes to dry, but obviously you can refer to the can that you're using. There's always instructions on the back. Your environment also affects how long your paint's going to take to dry. So if you're working in a colder environment like I am now, it might take a little bit longer. If you're working in a hot environment, that's going to dry very quickly. You can also speed up the process with a heat gun, and you can just use your heat gun kind of from a distance just to generate some heat on the panel. Right, that's our first coat applied, and it's now dry. We're going to apply another coat, but we're going to apply this coat a little bit heavier. So again, we're going to hit it with the filler primer. And just moving evenly across the panel. Sides. Come around the other side. Remember, shake your can between coats. If the can's full, the paint is going to be sitting in the bottom, so always shake between your coats if you feel like you're losing pressure or it's not coming out too evenly. We're going to let that dry maybe 20 minutes this time because it's a slightly heavier coat. And then we're going to apply one more filler primer coat. So we're going to apply 3 coats in total. Right, we're back. We've put 2 coats of primer on it. I was going to put a 3rd coat, but it doesn't actually need it. We're just going to move straight onto our next primer. So what we're going to do, we've waited a couple of hours. We're just going to give it a light scotch over. Like so. You're not going to be too heavy with this, just a light rub down. Same with the other one. Light rub down. And now we're going to give them a wipe off again. And you're going to check and see if you see any kind of imperfections now. So I'm spotting one kind of up here. So we're going to give them a wipe off again. We're going to now put that one to the side. This one a wipe off. We're going to give our surface a wipe again. Our headlight covers back. That one there. We're now going to go over them in a white primer. 2 reasons I'm doing this. This is more of a top coat primer. Your filler primer is usually a bottom color. But the white primer is obviously white, and it's going to make it easier for us to apply a color. Some paints, you'll find that when you paint them, and it's worth looking this up when you decide what color you're painting your car, what is your color of your car. Sometimes they will advise when you're painting that color that you use a certain top coat of primer. I'm using white for this because white is quite a neutral color and we're spraying green. as weird as it sounds, you will see this color through the paint. Most people wouldn't notice it, but a professional painter would see it. So you use a more neutral base color to basically hide what we've done here. So we're going to give that a shake for 3 minutes. Okay, we're ready to apply our white primer. Again, we're going to start off light, and then our second coat we're going to apply the primer a little heavier. And we're going to leave that 15 minutes to dry. Well, we're now ready to apply our second coat. So again, we're going to go a little bit heavier this time. We're now going to leave those around 20 minutes, and then we're going to put one more coat on them. Right, we've waited 20 minutes. We're going to apply our final coat of primer. Right, that's our primering done. We're going to wait half an hour, and then we're going to give this a slight scotch again, and then we're going to paint. But for a second, let's kind of discuss paint and how this is going to work, right? Now, on my car, there wasn't a paint code color, right? Now, you're going to need to know what paint your car's actually painted in. And to do that, you're going to do one of a couple of different things. Sometimes you'll have a VIN number on the car, and you can just call your manufacturer and give them the VIN number, and they usually have the color on file if the car was painted the original color. Sometimes there'll be a sticker on your car somewhere in a door, or sometimes near the boot lid or another area, depending on which make and manufacturer you have. Or if your car is a custom color and you have no idea what your color is, there are companies that will come and actually scan your paint. They basically prep and clean a certain area of your paintwork. They polish it, and then they use a special camera to basically scan the paint. And then off of that, they can usually create quite accurate kind of paint mixed from different colors to achieve the color that your car is painted. We're going to give our panel a final scotch. Give our panel one final wipe off. And now we're going to apply our paint in light stages. We're going to do 3 light coats and then a heavy coat. We're now going to leave this for 15 minutes. Right, we've now waited 15 minutes. We're going to apply our second coat. Again, another light coat, nothing too heavy on it. That's our second coat. Right, we're now ready for our third coat. I'm gonna go a little bit heavier on the third coat because I want to even the color out slightly. So we're gonna go. So that's now our third coat. We're probably going to do a fourth coat and see how we look, and then decide whether we're happy with our coverage. Right, we're going to put our fourth and final coat on. Just going to touch in those edges first. Okay. Now we're going to cover our whole headlight cover. Right, they look pretty good. I think we're done with paint. We're now going to apply our lacquer once that dries. However, I'm going to show you a trick with an aerosol can, if you never knew this. Right, when you use your aerosol can, obviously you're spraying in an upwards formation like that. At the end, when you're done, you're going to have paint residue left in your nozzle. Now, if you don't clean that, your nozzles will clog. So what you do, you turn your can upside down, like so, and you spray it until the green doesn't come out no more, or whatever colour your paint is. And then you know you've cleared your nozzle. And then that's safe for you to put away. Right, our paint is now dry. We used the base coat. What that means is we now need to apply a lacquer on top to give it its shine. We're going to see how we go. We're going to do a light coat of lacquer, and then we're going to come in and touch it again. I think the second coat of lacquer will be heavier, but the first coat is going to be a nice light coat. Make sure we got that. Get our sides. And you want to use your lacquer a little bit further than you used your paint, because your lacquer can run very easily. Right, we're going to start like that. We're going to leave that to dry. We're going to give it around 10 minutes, and then we're going to apply our next coat. Right, we're now going to apply our next coat of lacquer. Right, now we're going to let that coat dry a little bit better, but you can see already our panels are taking form. It just shows you how good of a job you can actually get by just using aerosol if you focus on the prep. If I bring you round, so far that's only one coat of lacquer, second coat of lacquer, sorry. And we're pretty good. We've got a few imperfections. I mean, that's expected from aerosol. But it's a pretty clean job, to be honest with you. We'll put another coat of lacquer on it, maybe a fourth one, and then what we'll do, we'll leave them. And then when we come to actually paint our car properly, we might just flat these down and give them a polish, and we'll get a really good finish. But if you were looking to paint your car on a budget, this isn't a bad shout, to be honest with you. I mean, in the end of the day, my car's being used every day, and the car isn't perfect. So the panels are going to look better than the car anyway. So yeah, like I said, it's always 90% prep. Hey guys, we're going to put our final coat on now. Our headlights are looking great. We're just going to add one more coat to give it one more layer of protection. Right, that's our final coat. Now once that cures, that will look really good. So yeah guys, that's just kind of a brief tutorial on how to paint things on a budget. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop me a like and drop me a subscribe. Thanks for watching.